The storm seems to be approaching. I'm in Pattaya. Yes, it's pronounced like that, with the accent on the last syllable, although they usually call it Pattaya, and it's a wonderful place. Although when I told my Thai friends that I'm going to film in Pattaya, they were all really surprised. They said, "How come? What are you going to Pattaya for? There's Phuket. There's many other wonderful places. Why Pattaya?" When it's something made by the Thais, it turns out really cool. I don't know, maybe. Something just fell of. I got curious to know, what is this place? Like if the Thais themselves are afraid of it. It's a place where wives, children, and even a sofa can disappear. In Thailand, you can't go out without panties or boxers. You can go to jail for that. Really? Besides, Russian tourists are very fond of Pattaya, and Russian in general. Come here not only for relaxation and leisure, but some even relocate here. This is especially interesting. Why do people come live in Pattaya? You have a drug den. No, it's a cannabis shop. Today we're going to see what it's all about, and of course, we're going to immerse ourselves in the local perversity. Yes, thank you. Which is one of the main attractions here, as you may be aware. What kind of place is it that everyone's talking about? It smells very unnatural here. Someone has pooped here. You can see what urban planning looks like here. There is none. It's important to understand that Pattaya is actually a city. I'm at a viewpoint, and there's a huge sign saying Pattaya and the word city, so that no one thinks it's a village. We see a luxurious beach and some skyscrapers. You might even think it's Miami. Well, just kidding. Of course, Pattaya is nothing like Miami, although maybe at some point it will be. Make yourselves comfortable. Feel free to please YouTube's algorithms with likes, comments, and by sharing this video. Now, let's get started. Let's explore the city before it starts raining. In this video, you will discover not only how the sex industry works in Pattaya, but you will also get a tour of the police station. There's a jail. Were there Russians here? Yes, a lot of Russians. You will witness the rebirth ceremony with me as the main character. I buried everything bad, and now I am a new person. In the 1960s and 1970s, during the Vietnam War, American soldiers came to Thailand on holiday. Many women who had to support their families saw this as a possibility to earn money. Each faced a simple choice between finding a low-paying job or becoming a sex worker. Some women were forced into prostitution by their families to earn money to support the family budget and improve their economic status. All this led to the rapid development of sex tourism in the country. This in turn attracted the attention of criminal groups who wanted to profit from the demand of tourists' pleasures. At the time, the most frequent were kidnappings of teenage girls from the villages of Thailand. I decided to take a stroll down the most unpleasant street in town, Walking Street. This is where most of the go-go bars, clubs, and massage parlors are located. Right here you can find the prostitutes. So boss, where are we? Walking Street. What's that? It's a street of sex and fun. You know what I like here? It's like we're at home. It's really like we're in our kitchen at home. Now, we need to get closer. We need to get closer. Well done. We need to get Sergey. We got kicked out of one go-go bar, but they let us in the other one and told us on how everything works there.
It's the best club on the Walking Street, yeah?
Of course it is, yes. It's 23 years old club. We play dancing music and we make people happy.
Where are you from?
From Greece.
From which part?
From Thessaloniki.
Thessaloniki.
Yes, you know?
Yes, of course. When do we come here? to Pattaya?
2012,
Sounds-
November.
Why,
So
why,
it's,
why choose Pattaya?
because the time I moved here, it was the Russian era. It was full of Russians, and because I speak Russian, I thought I have a chance to get a job here. So I got a job. Things got better and better, so I became a manager, and I decided to stay.
The Chinese era?
Now I think Russians are back.
Also, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you explain about nightlife in Pattaya? So what the difference between go-go bars and your club and
Go-go bars, you just go and see some girls dancing. It's more erotic style, and a nightclub is more a normal thing where you go to have a drink and enjoy with your friends, and also you can flirt, but it's in a different style than a go-go.
And okay, what do you think about prostitution here? Now it's illegal, but as I know,
That's a taboo conversation, so I have to be very careful about it.
as I know, they want to legalize it. Not happy about it?
They legalized marijuana first, so
Yeah.
about prostitution, I don't know. So
And why do Russians come here? Here to Pattaya? I think it's because it's warm. There's a good atmosphere. I think it's a lot of fun here. It's minus 2 degrees Celsius here. It's not minus 12 as they say it is. What is Walking Street? It's a huge number of clubs, an infinite number of promoters of some sort who come with the papers where there are all the skills of female genitalia. You can't hear anything here because the music is banging from every door. Here there are different girls offering their bodies. Generally speaking, it's a rather unpleasant place. Okay, let's continue. It's some sort of a market where they sell different kinds of junk. Animal torturers who let people take pictures with different animals. There's also illegal alcohol that they sell at tiny prices. There are people from all over the world who come here to see all these activities. There are a lot of Russians here, but I can honestly say that Russians are a minority here. Most people are from Europe, and there are a lot of Chinese who come to watch all this. There are policemen walking around. I thought that this is the third time a policeman has passed here, and it turns out that he decided to accompany us. Out of a sudden, we got security in form of Thai police. In general, of course, the police is not necessary here because it is very safe. And actually, people, despite the somewhat weird perversity, alcohol, legalized drugs, there is here, in spite of all that, it is very quiet here. There is no aggression at all. Well, the filming didn't end as we had hoped. The police stopped us and took the camera away. How did it happen? We were filming using a flash, and I was telling what happens here when there were policemen around us. I made a joke saying, oh, the police started to look after us, or something like that, and they were following us, waiting for me to finish filming. And when we turned off the camera, they said, oh, guys, stop. Do you have permission to film here? I didn't understand what permission they meant, because we were just walking down the street, where there were a lot of tourists, and they said, we have professional equipment, flash, Steadicam, so since we're using professional equipment, they're going to have to take it all. In the end, the policeman took the camera away from us, and they said that tomorrow we can supposedly pick it up somewhere. Here it is worth noting that the policemen were quite friendly. They let me take pictures with them. I took a selfie, and they said, "Greetings, all good. We are the wonderful Thai police. We are very friendly, wonderful, but we will take your camera away. They are worried that we have recorded something explicit and will show Thailand in a way that they don't like." It can be a very interesting story when the cops are next to the prostitutes, next to the brothels, and everybody knows what's going on there. But they pretend there's none of that happening, and apparently they're worried about someone showing it to the outside world. So tomorrow we are going to rescue the camera somehow. There are interesting rules here. Here in Thailand, alcoholic beverages can be sold from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then they have a 1-hour lunch break, and at lunchtime you can't drink, and then it's sold again from 5 p.m. till midnight. At any other time you cannot buy alcoholic beverages. The rights of the workers in the sex industry are not protected at any way. That is why there are several NGOs in the country that defend their interests. They themselves are trying to register sex workers in order to understand how many people are involved in the industry. I met with a representative of the HIV Prevention Foundation Service Workers IN group and talked to him about a situation in Pattaya. How many people are involved in prostitution in Thailand, and particularly in Pattaya? As for the local number in Thailand, I cannot give exact figures. But in Thailand, we mostly have sex workers, and there are about 100,000 of them. There are definitely more than 100,000, actually. And in Pattaya, there are more than 15,000 in sex workers. Why do people get involved in the sex industry? This is mostly because of economic problems. They either don't have any means to survive or just want more money. That forces them to opt for the service industry. That's the main factor. Are they locals, or do they come from some other regions of Thailand? Or do they even come from abroad? Most come from the northeast. They're coming here from quite a lot of regions, but most are from the northeast. There are many from other countries, our Cambodian neighbors. From Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, around 20% are from other countries. And from Russia? There are some from Russia too, yes. How much do the girls who come from northeast of Thailand to work here in Pattaya earn? It is difficult to answer. More than 10,000 baht. 10,000 baht or more. Some earn 100,000 baht. On average, it is around 10,000. Usually the client pays about 3,000 baht to the bar, half of which is paid to the sex worker. And do the girls who work here sell themselves on their own? Do they work alone in the bars and so on? Or does someone bring them in and control them? Does someone give cover to the businesses? Well, in most cases, girls look for the job on their own. They are looking to work themselves, but it is very rare that there's any manager. In what conditions do they work, and how dangerous is it? In the sex industry work, there are two main factors that cause danger. The first is health, sexually transmitted diseases, and the second is violence, that the client will hurt them. Employees in the industry can be divided into two types. If they're freelancers, they face more problems because they have no one to look after them. One must pay the bar so the sex worker can leave it. Some bars also have security that protects them. Most customers of the prostitutes are tourists, including Russian citizens. I decided to speak with one of them to discuss their attitude towards sex tourism in Thailand. Who usually comes here? A lot of gentlemen come from Europe. Wealthy older men looking for young girls. Other than that, anyone who's interested. I see that there's a lot of Chinese here. Yes, the Chinese come here in busloads. A lot of Indians come here too. Do they just watch outside or do they come in? Do they take part? Do they spend money here? How does it work? The Chinese usually come just as tourists and the Indians start their businesses, restaurants. There are a lot of Indian restaurants. Of course, I don't recommend them, but I have sinned. I've used their services. There are streetwalkers. They're near Beach Road. They are right on the street? Yes, the road by the beach is called Beach Road. There are several girls, many, one after another. They are the lower tier, the street prostitutes. They're the cheapest out there. Then there are the massage parlors. After that, the gentlemen's clubs, and there's plenty of them in Pattaya. I mean the gentlemen's clubs. And you come there, they're open from about noon until 2 in the morning. There the girls also dance half naked. The story is about how alcohol is an evil, friends. That is confirmed here. This man can no longer stand. I hope he gets home safe on this motorcycle. Where do the girls working here come from? Some are from Cambodia, others are from Thailand, others are from Laos, but mostly from Cambodia and Thailand. So now we are, what's this street called? Soi? Soi means avenue in Thailand. Soi is adventure, and there are hundreds of them. There's a huge number of these girls. Yes, there's a huge number of these girls. Do they all find their clients here? 99% of these girls find their clients, almost all. Sometimes someone approaches and they've just started working, but they can say no, but 98% are in demand. But if there are so many, are there enough clients? There are hundreds in each club. Yes, there's loads to choose from. Each bar has special rooms set up for it. Are there rooms in the bars or elsewhere? Yes, they can be on the first floor in the bars. You enter the bar, and there are rooms for clients on the first floor, where what's called boom boom happens. But do you have to buy her out of the bar in some way? No, it's simply a formality. You have to pay the mamasan. That's their boss. The customer gives her 500 baht, and they request that you give another 1,000 to 1,500 baht to the girl herself. These are more expensive than the street ones. That's because they are overseen by the mamasan. That's the system. It's the global capital of sex tourism. Such extent of it isn't seen anywhere else in the world. No, on this scale, truly, I mean, so that I really can't believe it. There are hundreds of them. Yes, it's actually shocking sometimes. The main stereotype of Thailand is that they are not necessarily women. At Bar 6, 95% are women. If we go a bit to the right here, there will be a dark alley. There, transvestites are lurking for clients. And at Bar 6, there's 1 or 2 transvestites and hundreds or thousands of women. Where's the dark alley? Let's go there. We've arrived at the dark alley, and now we have to walk through it. There aren't many people here. I have a question. Many guys who take a transvestite for a night then claim they didn't know, that they look alike, etc. Do they reveal themselves at once? Generally, they tell right away. I mean, if someone is saying that they met a beautiful girl who didn't say anything, and they only found out later, it's an excuse. You can ask for their ID. Here it is, see? Here are the transvestites waiting for their clients. Here are 2 transvestites. And why did you get into this? Why are you interested? Well, I also had experiences with these girls. Of course, I don't support it. There's nothing good about it, but I've done it many times with Thai prostitutes. That's why I know a lot about it. Is that why you came here? I lived in India for a long time, and Thailand lifted its pandemic restrictions. I wanted to try it out. Have you heard of the legalization of prostitution here? They're supposedly considering it. I don't know the details. Actually, it's a gray area. That is, they're neither legal or illegal. No one gets arrested. Everyone comes here to work as prostitutes. So, many laws in Asia aren't enforced. In Thailand, you can't leave your house without underwear. You can go to jail for that. Really? Well, there's this law stipulated by Thai legislation. You can't go out in the street without underwear. But here's a person here without underwear. Well, no one follows this rule, but it does exist.
On, take my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, take my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on.
On the streets and in the bars of Pattaya, you can find not only women but also men who sell sexual services. They are transvestites and ladyboys. The former simply dress in the women's clothing, and the ladyboys, or as they are called, katoi, are often referred to as the third gender in Thailand. They are men who create the most feminine appearance possible. They undergo gender-affirming surgery. They undergo hormone therapy, have breast surgery, and remove their Adam's apple. It's often nearly impossible to tell them apart from women. At the same time, their sexual preferences can be men, women, or other katois. Ladyboys often work in the same places as other Thai women. They can also be found in transvestite shows. That's where I'm headed now. It's one of the main attractions here. It's called Tiffany's Show. As you can probably guess, inside this luxurious place there are no women. All the actors, all the participants in the show are men, or transvestites. Or are they transgender? What should I call them? What's the correct term? Can I say transvestites? Even the Thai police promotes this venue. By the way, the interesting thing is that there are mainly Thai tourists here. We are behind the scenes here. We came to see how they prepare for one of Pattaya's main shows. People are getting dressed up, and you can see the scale of it all. The magic of transformation takes place here. There are dozens of people here transforming themselves, because soon the show will begin, and there's real magic happening here. The most important thing is that no one notices me. Wigs, makeup, and the real miracle happens.
Welcome to Tiffany Show. Tiffany แบบเมาผ้าละ
If you have ever seen a transvestite show, you can know how spectacular their costumes are. The owner of the place told me a little bit about them. By the way, he came to Thailand from Australia.
The costumes are all made in-house and they're all designed by our designers. And they're all kept in individual racks, as you see, for each number or each item in the show. And so the girls come out and collect their costume, get dressed, and then it goes straight back into the rack when they're finished, just to look after them, make sure they're safe.
They look very heavy.
Yeah, some of the headdresses are very heavy, but they're made to balance properly on their heads. And they've all had plenty of practice walking and wearing them, so they're well used to them all, yeah.
I didn't get it right. I wanted to say that I can now participate in the show, but I can't do it. It's heavy. It is about 1 kilo. Of course, I couldn't help but ask why an Australian chose Pattaya and how he decided to create a transvestite show.
The first question is just interesting about you. You said you're from Australia.
I'm from Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you move here to Pattaya?
I've been with Tiffany for 20 years.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Why did you choose Pattaya? So
They chose me.
they invite you
Yes.
to this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm creative director of the show and design scenery and overall look of the show.
So this is all your work. This show now, it's
All our work, we work together.
you work together.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you maybe introduce your show? Tell me what about it, how when you started and.
Okay, the show started in 1974, so it's nearly 50 years
Wow.
that it's been going, non-stop, 3 shows every night.
Every night, 3 shows
3 shows, yeah.
for 50 years.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Well, did it start off 3 shows when it first started, or?
Yes, but when we have the Chinese festival, we do is more than 3 shows. We do it 6, 8 shows a day.
During Chinese New Year, which is very busy with Chinese tourists. So maybe do 4 or 5 shows every day.
So there is a special show for Chinese tourists.
We do some special parts for the Chinese New Year, yes. Yeah.
So is there any difference between Chinese and for Russian tourists?
No.
They're all the same.
Well, I guess they all like different things and different things in the show. But I think we probably had more Chinese tourists than Russian tourists. But there's always lots of Russian tourists around, yeah.
7 years or 8 years before, we do the special show for Russia also. Russian show
Special Russian show.
Yes, yeah.
before.
We did for many years until it was almost up till COVID, and then we took it out because no tourists here. So we're thinking of doing another new Russian show very soon.
Okay, can you tell me about artists who work on the show? How many of them?
Now is we got only because it's from COVID. We just call them back only 60%.
So there's 60 girls and boys, boy dancers and girl dancers and principals. So in total 60, yeah.
So it's a boy and girls, but girls they make a gender transition, yeah?
Or is the girl is all the gender.
Yeah, girls transgender, but the boys are boy dancers.
The boy dance. So no girls who was born as a girl.
No real girls, no.
It's interesting to know people in Thailand. They when they decide to change gender, they do it because of money. They want to earn money, and because they can find a good job, for example, in your show, or they feel if men feel like a woman. So
I think it's
what the main reason why?
I think it's more the latter. It's people who feel and know that they are not who they're born. I mean, they're transgender and they want to be transgender. So therefore, Tiffany offers the opportunities for work in theatre in many areas, in lighting, in sound, on the stage, under the stage, doing scenery. It offers work for and opportunities for anyone and everyone, especially transgender, of course.
Okay, and all your artists, they're local or not?
They're all Thai.
They're all
from
Thai.
Thailand, but they come from all areas, all over Thailand, to audition and maybe get a job at Tiffany. Yeah.
No foreign
no.
foreign characters. Why?
No.
Maybe any age restrictions for visitors.
or
For visitors.
no. It's a family show.
It's family show, so
It caters for children, caters for audience of all age. Yeah, there's no restriction.
so everybody can visit it. You can come with a family, with your kids. It's not a problem.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Phuket and Pattaya are the most popular seaside resorts in Thailand. They attract not only tourists, but also to our Russian compadres who see the sex industry as a source of income. Russian pimps from the post-Soviet space are called the Russian Mafia in Thailand. They are not only organizing this business in the country, but also deceptively bring in Russian girls. The latter are usually told that they are going to work in the tourism industry in Asia, or as waiters, but in fact are forced into sexual slavery. They say that services of Russian prostitutes are much more expensive than the Thai ones. But it's safe to say that there are some here. Well, because there are. All this is not a business, but actually a modern type of slavery. Women are forced into this industry against their will, and it is often very difficult for them to get out of it. I spoke about the Russian mafia in Thailand, prostitution and legislation of marijuana with a coffee shop owner. I would like to remind you that drugs are bad for you. What impact did it have on the number of tourists? How many people are only coming here because of the drugs legalization? There are actually quite a lot, and not only Russians, but also people from other countries. As soon as they found out about it, people started coming, and there's a lot of demand now for marijuana. Before it became illegal, who controlled this business? Of course, in this country, the Thais controlled it all. So there weren't any African, Japanese guys or anything like that? No, here there are no other nationalities that can work in the industry. Because the Thais put an end to it all that at once. They control everything. Is there no crime here? Is it a paradise on earth? I wouldn't put it like that. Of course, there is a bit of everything, including crime. The latest I've heard was when the Thais killed other Thais, so it's easier with foreigners. Foreigners are safe unless there's some sort of conflict. What activities are there in Pattaya? 2 water parks, a zoo. In addition, some come here for the sex tourism. For example, I know that Indians do tours for 2 or 3 days. That is the only reason why they arrive. Why is that? You name it. For sex. You finally said it. Finally, you said this word. Indians come for sex. The Chinese come to invest in real estate. And the Russians, with a book by Chekhov, to read on the beach at sunset. They also read Dostoevsky, Pushkin, bow to say goodbye, and leave. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, an epidemic of HIV and AIDS broke out in Thailand. According to UNAIDS, the first case of HIV in Thailand occurred in the early 1990s. The number of people living with HIV reached its peak in the 2000s, when around 800,000 cases were reported. In the early 2000s, the number of AIDS deaths reached approximately 57,000 per year. The government was forced to find a solution. It conducted numerous information campaigns on the risks and ways to prevent dangerous diseases. The use of condoms was promoted as part of these campaigns. In 2001, there were 520,000 people living with HIV in Thailand. According to UNAIDS, 94% of those infected with HIV were aware of their HIV status, and 91% of people with HIV were receiving treatment. 97% of them achieved viral suppression. Today, the probability of contracting the disease has been drastically reduced, although this problem still exists. Are there any stats on the number of HIV-positive people among Pattaya's sexual workers? Yes, there are. According to the data from the last 5 years, 3% of the people who were tested for HIV were positive. If we talk about numbers, there were about 24,000 people tested. Out of these 24,000 people, a total of 3% were infected. Personally, I think there are more people infected, but I'm talking about those who were screened and treated. There were about 3% amongst those who haven't been screened too. It's not mandatory to be tested, but we have an outreach team. Outreach, or as the Thais call it, the CAMP program, tells the public about the program. They are the ones who go and say, you can get a free HIV test here. Volunteers go to the bars, talk to people, and hand out condoms and lubricants. Today, for many, Thailand is associated with sex tourism. I don't know if you know that the country has a reputation, but many people come here also come for the accessible sex that doesn't cost too much. And you can experience different pleasures in the principle. Although all that is forbidden, everything works practically in a legal way. How do Thais themselves perceive this reputation? Is the government trying to do something about it? Restrict it? Fight against it in any way? How do you see the problem from the inside? The Thai government tries not to let people work in the sex industry because it is forbidden to work as a sex worker. And in Pattaya, the government tries to say that there are no sex workers here. But it is absolutely true that there are. The government also allocates funds so sex workers can change their career and work for the good of the government. Here they don't accept work in the field of sexual services. They do not perceive this industry well. By the way, prostitution in Thailand is illegal. The first law against prostitution was passed in 1960. The law meant punishment for everyone involved in the field, except the client. But in 1996, there were some changes. Now the client of a prostitute can get 1 to 7 years of imprisonment. For sex workers, it means 1 to 7 years of imprisonment and a fine of 40,000 baht. Clients may receive harsher punishment if the prostitute was not of legal age. In this case, they risk 3 to 15 years of imprisonment and a fine of 60,000 to 400,000 baht. All that will be on condition that the relationship that took place with the consent of both parties. Otherwise, the Thai legislation interprets it as rape, and the client can receive up to 20 years in prison. When you read all these laws, you think that since everything is strict and difficult, surely there must be an order, but there is not. Of course, as strict as these laws are, no one really fights against prostitution in Thailand, and it's not for nothing that Pattaya is considered a mecca of sex tourism. Every evening, the streets and avenues of the city are filled with hundreds, maybe thousands of girls, thousands of young people of different genders who offer their bodies to the tourists at rather low price. And one really tries to fight it, because if you set the goal to fight against prostitution in Thailand or Pattaya, you would have to cover everything with a dome and wait for a long time. And I honestly can't imagine how that could happen. Because when you arrange meetings, dear friends, if you see me somewhere, you can come and take a picture instead of sneaking around. We have arrived at the police station. Let's go in. Here they are already waiting for us. There's policemen, a boy and a girl, It's like going to an amusement park. At the Pattaya police station, we met a Latvian who's been living here for 20 years. He's been working as a policeman for 8 years. He gave me a tour of the police station, but unfortunately he refused to answer my question about prostitution, as if it would disappear if we didn't mention it. Here are the officers. Here's my seat. But I spent more time in the room because there are always people who don't know where to go and what to do. This is where they write their police reports. It is mainly foreigners who come here. Yes, they are all foreigners. What problems do the foreigners have? What do they come with? Lost documents, lost phones, stolen phones, anything can happen. What rules do people break when they come here? If we are talking about Russian tourists, yes, they drink too much alcohol. Yes, they drink too much alcohol. That's their only problem. Then they can't find their hotel because they can't remember it. Then they sleep here until it's daylight, until they remember something. If they still can't remember anything, we contact the tourist police, who help us find it. And the tourist police are separate? Yes, it is separate. It's just that the tourist police have all the details of each tourist's accommodation. What if you see a drunk person on the street? We don't do anything. What do you do with them? We don't touch them. Do you see a lot of people lying on the ground? I don't go out at night. Even if you did at this hour, you won't see anyone lying around. There's the jail. Ah, there's no aircon here. Yeah, no aircon. Just a fan. But there doesn't seem to be anyone in here now. Ah, right. By the way, now it's rare that Russians are imprisoned. Have there been Russian inmates here before? Yes, and a lot. Why? Because of alcoholism. What's the last case you remember? I had a nasty case with the Russians, where a woman and an older man stole trousers from a shop. Wait, what? Yes, it's just embarrassing. They were in their 60s or older, and they stole the trousers. And what was their punishment? They were sent to court, and they had to spend the night here in jail. And then it's the judge who makes the decision. But I'm sure they were fined. And deported, I guess? Yes, and deported. Don't film too much here. But this is where the detectives sit. When someone gets robbed. Oh wow. Are they detectives? Yes. Do they respect the police here in Thailand? You have to respect it. People often come here to dispute fines because they think that they don't need to pay them. They dispute them. As well, the fact that their Russian driving license is not valid here. Before leaving Russia, it is necessary to obtain an annex to the license. Do I have to get an international license? Yes, sort of. It's just on a small cardboard. It is the one that is delivered everywhere. Yes, I know. They like to object when they don't have documents and believe that their plastic cards are valid in Thailand. The hardest thing is when accidents happen. Do tourists get in car accidents? Yes, because they are very brave. You think anything's possible, you know? I see it by how they drive. Are the fines for speeding very big? No. Maybe this is the problem. Fines are small, but if you have an accident, you may go bankrupt. Because cars are expensive. And if you have a car accident in a rented vehicle, that's not insured. And you damage an expensive Mercedes, you're in trouble. And here Mercedes costs twice as much as in Europe or Russia. You'll have to pay for everything, because that car will definitely be insured. And an insurance agent and their lawyers will protect their money. Yes, of course. And a Russian, for example, will not be allowed to leave until they pay everything off. There'll be a criminal case against them. So they'll stay here? Yes, they'll be here until they pay everything. How does the Thai prison look like? Not this one, not the temporary one. Something permanent? If a person commits a crime, it's just bigger. It's near Pattaya, 13 kilometers away. It's called Nong Plalai. What are the conditions like in a Thai prison? They sleep on the floor, just like here. Here it's not so nice, believe me. Here there are women together with men. In one cell? Yes, and they have a bucket. Let's have a look. We found a table of fines. Conveniently, it's translated into Russian, especially for the naughty people who break the laws. Everything is in Russian for them to understand. So, passing a stop sign costs 1,000 baht. Passing road markings, 1,000. Driving without a seatbelt, 500. No helmet, 500. Parking at a bus stop, 500. Aggressive handling, 1,000. It's an interesting clause, but the fines are small. They need to be increased. Fines are very small. Now we are in the tourist police office, and here is a tourist map showing the main attractions. I'd love to know what they say about the walking street and all these alleys with the Thai perversity. So, what can you do? There are water parks here, different performances. There are shows, including Tiffany's. Here everything is fine. They show a wooden temple that we will also see. Go-karting, aquarium, mistreatment of elephants, floating villages, Buddhas, more mistreatment of elephants, mistreatment of other animals. That's Pattaya for you. And here is Walking Street. It's marked as an attraction, but it just says that Walking Street is a pedestrian street. Not a word about it being a center of total perversity.
Ни слова.
Good news, folks. I managed to rescue the camera from the police's embrace. The local guys are very concerned about the reputation of the country because they say Thailand is a country of smiles, and they think we want to show that it's a perversity. Again, it's quite strange because there is perversity everywhere you look. No one seems to be fighting it. The government turns a blind eye to it. I've never seen prostitution as rampant as I see here in any other country. It is clear why people come here. I mean, everybody understands everything, but they don't say anything. Thailand is a country of smiles, but you have to be careful with the recordings. The policeman said record with your phone what you want, but you can't do it with a professional camera. Thai activists have been fighting to legalize prostitution for a long time. They have proclaimed themselves in favor of a law to protect those involved in the industry, according to which voluntary participation in the sex trade should not be considered a criminal offense. What is your attitude toward the legalization of prostitution? Does Thailand have plans to legalize it? No, it does not. But the Thai government is taking into account the wishes of various organizations that are proclaiming in favor of legislation at the political level. In your opinion, how would the legislation of prostitution change its market? What impact would it have on HIV infection and the safety of sex workers? First, they will have social security. They will have rights to medical treatment. They will have rights from the government when Thailand faces problems. Like last time, when there was a coronavirus, we had money for support. The government supported those who faced difficulties, but they had to enter the details of their profession. When sex workers entered their profession, they didn't receive any assistance, nor did they receive any benefits. In 1999, the Thai authorities realized not only the scale of prostitution, but also the negative reputation of the country's center of sex tourism. They launched an advertising campaign aimed at single and married women from Europe and the UK. Thailand was presented as a place of unique traditions and authenticity. Local festivities were promoted, and Buddhism was presented as a guarantee of safety. The main points of interest were beaches, spas, and cuisine. Immigrants contributed to Thailand's reputation by moving here because of the warm climate. They were joined by Russians who moved to Pattaya after February 2022. Now friends, let's take a stroll through downtown Pattaya. There's a problem. There are no significant architectural attractions in Pattaya. There are no historic districts either. So if you're used to walking along medieval pretty streets, you'd better go to Prague. People come to Pattaya to go to the beach, enjoy the palm trees, have nice and cheap food. Yes, this architecture situation is funny, but on the other hand, in Thailand it's like that everywhere. They don't seem to care much about how their cities look. That's why there is such a mess with the signs everywhere, with the wires and everything else. But for some people, it's the unique and authentic thing about Asia. So what's the secret of Pattaya? I think it's the mix of huge amount of entertainment and the accessibility of that entertainment. Because whatever you want here, it's accessible and affordable. The food is tasty and inexpensive. You can stay in hotels and rent rooms at a very affordable price. You can also buy a flat for a very reasonable price. There are all these shows, bars, etc. Yes, maybe there is no luxury or good services here. But it is this variety of leisure for which people go on holiday to the sea, and it's the respective accessibility of that leisure that attracts people here. I wanted to say that a car can hit you at any time, but here's an important thing. Thai people are very friendly. If you block someone's way, no one will honk. They will just stop and wait for you calmly. See, someone's parked there. Somebody parked their black car, and the other car can't get past it. And it can stand still like that for 5 to 10 minutes. Something must be going on. Look, we've now blocked the road. Let's see if they're going to honk. The car is coming, and it'll be waiting behind me because we seem busy, and it wouldn't be nice to run me over. Of course, we moved aside, but believe me, if we were like that for 5 minutes, nobody would say anything to us. You saw well with the example of the car story how Thai culture and calmness look like. It is one of the other reasons why people come here. Everything is very calm, quiet, simple, and there are no problems at all. Now we are on one of the main streets of Pattaya. We are not yet on the beach. It's just a wide road. There are pavements here. It's something surprising. There is a huge number of local shops, small little markets, stalls. Here on the pavements you can buy a watermelon or fried bugs. You can buy a phone, a cap, get a massage. So there are more things and services that you can imagine. There are some plant seeds here. One can buy seeds and plant a watermelon at home. How cool! It's a very short, colorful street, because here they sell fruits, lottery tickets, some food, and different beverages, from spirits to soft drinks. There is everything here. As for craving, folks, if you like fruits, you can find them in Thailand all year round. Fruits are sold everywhere, on the street, in bulk, in supermarkets. You can walk around, and if you feel like eating a mango or watermelon, you will find it without any problem. There is plenty of everything here. What else is interesting about Pattaya? The city is quite small, at least according to official data. Less than 200,000 people live here. But in reality, it is much more if you take into account the suburbs. Considering the people who come here, but don't live here all the time, there'll be a minimum of 500,000 people. So in reality, the city is not that small at all. They have their own airport, so you can fly right in here. There are also some charter flights too, but it's more convenient to go to Bangkok because there's a huge airport there. There are a lot of direct flights to Bangkok from all over the world. From Bangkok you can take a taxi, and in an hour and a half you can get to Pattaya, check into your hotel, and enjoy. What else is interesting? Check out this tower behind me. It's an unfinished construction. Some guys invested in it, started to build it, and then there was a scandal because it turned out that the building is closing some views. And now it's just there, without any new works being done. It's stuck in its semi-finished shape, and it's not clear what'll happen to it. That's why it is necessary to be very careful when buying a flat and real estate, especially in the markets where your investments in the real estate are by no means secure. Thailand is such a market, so choose developers and check all your documents well. It's better to spend more on lawyers to check and analyze everything and check other projects of this developer than to end up in a situation like this. They say that at some point their construction will end, but it's a question of when that will be. So I remind again that investments in the real estate, especially in some markets, are risky, and it is necessary to evaluate these risks calmly in order not to find oneself in an uncomfortable situation. I decided to talk about Pattaya with my friend to discover another opinion of the city. He's been living in Thailand for a long time, and he doesn't like Pattaya at all. It's every Russian's dream. The sun, the sea, the infrastructure. There are Russian restaurants, such as Zakharovna, Vozom Podkov. I don't know if they're already shut or not yet, but anyway, there are other restaurants too. This is a Georgian restaurant. There is an Uzbek restaurant. Everybody knows everything. There are Russian people here who help with everything, and Russians feel good there. By the way, I can say that Russians aren't as embarrassing because from the police stats I know they behave well here. To put the Russians at ease, who is embarrassing then? The Australians are embarrassing. Sometimes it's the Germans, the Scandinavians, the British. They are the ones who will shock you very often. I was also surprised that people don't follow the driving rules here at all. Sometimes they're going at 120 miles per hour. At least, as far as I know, there are no cameras. Nobody's fined. It's a free zone. As for the traffic, the driving test in Thailand, it lasts 4 hours. For the first 1.5 hours, you are just in a queue for the test. Then there's a 40-minute multiple choice questionnaire. Then you're waiting in the queue again. You don't need to drive around the town or with an instructor. There are certain rules, but you can revise it all yourself. You don't have to go to driving school or present any documents from there. It's the Buddhist mentality. Do what you want if you don't bother anyone. You have to remember this very well. Do you have anything good to say about Pattaya? It's a nice, quiet city. It is Thailand to the minimum. You come to Thailand for the first time without having traveled before, and everything seems strange to you. The people are strange. The way they speak is strange. Even the facades of the house. And in Pattaya, you can relax because there are signs in Russian. You hear a lot of Russian. You can always ask how to get somewhere. And this is the best thing about Pattaya. Alexei came to Thailand from Yaroslavl, Russia in 2014. First, he lived in Phuket, and then he moved to Pattaya. We talked about the advantages and disadvantages of life in these two places. We have a big battle between Phuket and Pattaya. Why is Phuket better than Pattaya? Phuket is better than Pattaya, first, because of the sea and beaches, nature, palm trees everywhere, tropical climate. However, for life, it depends on what you prefer. Some like the village life, other a more urban one. In other words, Pattaya is a more urban place of life. Again, Bangkok is close by. If you want, there are different islands nearby. But the sea here is worse than in Phuket. So it's not like a holiday paradise? It's not a holiday in paradise, no. If you come here to relax, you better go to Phuket. If it's for living, you can go to Pattaya. Hey, you know all the traps. How do they swindle the tourists? Some inexperienced ones who come have scattered look. How do they scam them? How do they fail them? They only scam drunk people. A Thai woman can promise you something, ask you for an advance payment, take you somewhere to the rooms and escape through the back door. Or you come with a Thai woman. She happens to be 17 and her mom comes and says that you have to marry her or we are going to live here in your flat. And the mom comes with her stuff right away. So the tourists are forced to give her about 10 to 15,000 for her and her daughter to leave. Is this in baht or in dollars? In baht. You know, in Russia you can often hear from guys a story that someone met a girl in a bar and so, she was so amazing and nice, nothing predicted any surprises. Then I came with her to my room, and it turns out that it wasn't a girl. The Thais say, it's a lie, because ladyboys don't hide that. They are ladyboys, and if you come with them to the room, you are either a drug addict who doesn't understand what's going on, or you make stuff up to your friends because nobody pulls a scam like that pretending to be a girl, because it doesn't make any sense if you can get punched in the face afterwards. Yes, actually. If you are more or less sober and approach a ladyboy, the most common thing is that they will tell you who they are and won't try to make any money. It all depends on the state of the tourist. There aren't ladyboys everywhere in Thailand. They're mostly in the resort towns like Pattaya, Phuket, Bangkok. It takes a lot of money to make a gender transition, expensive plastic surgeries, all the hormones. That is, this is all very complicated. That doesn't happen in a day. You have to invest in yourself in the hope of continuing to work in this field. Yes, it's mainly people from poor families who do it. To make people understand, people make this transition not because they identify themselves as such, not because they were born in a man's body, but feel like they're a woman. As it is in the USA and Europe, here people feel like a man, but they realize that it would be easier to earn money like this in the future. They go and make the transition to earn money. It's not their internal choice or how they identify as a gender, but their choice only to work and future life. Yes, these are people from poor families, from the northern provinces like Isan, where they live very poor. They have 10 children in each family, and so, to survive, they take this step. Most often, they're given this idea by their oldest brothers, who have already become ladyboys. So it is the influence of the older boys that gets them involved in this. Who marries Thai girls? What does this industry look like? Well, it's mainly English speakers who do it. But Russians also marry them. Do Russians marry Thais? And do they live here or do they take them to Russia? No, they live here. What is the danger of marrying a Thai woman? Because they look so cute, caring. I have several examples. When they got married, had children, everything was fine, and then at some point, they come home, and everything's gone. There's no sofa, no TV. She took everything. The Thai woman is gone. The child is gone. There's no communication at all. No contacts. Where to look? For whom? How? That's how it was. Is it a true story? Yes. Did it happen here? In Pattaya? Yes. Pattaya is a place where wives, children, and even sofas can disappear. Yes. Stay with us. Well, there are positive examples as well of Thai women and ordinary families. But it is not common. It happens more often in Bangkok because Thai women are more educated from good families. And in Pattaya, of course, they are from the poorer provinces. Here you can really live without messing with perversity. Yes, of course. There are good schools for children, kindergartens, leisure. What school is the best in Pattaya? I can mention the most expensive one. Okay, what is the most expensive one? It's Regent's School. 1 year costs 1 million baht. I know Russians whose children study there. There is an opinion that Pattaya is a resort, a place where life is cheap. and that it's those people that come here who don't have the possibility to live in Bali and Phuket. That's partially true, but here there are very different prices. There are cheap, average, and very expensive houses. Now let's walk around the city to see how comfortable it is to live in. But first, let's go to the shopping center. The most important thing we find in Pattaya is H&M. And Uniqlo. There is a Uniqlo and H&M, and we barely entered the mall. Each floor of the mall has its own thematic decoration. There is a floor dedicated to Paris, London. The most interesting floor is the Japanese floor, because here there's decoration in honor of the Tokyo Underground. This logo here is the logo of the Tokyo Underground. Here is a transfer to JR. These are the Japanese trains between cities. To complete the imagery, they need to hang a huge number of advertisements, diagrams, prohibition signs that the Japanese like, so that the atmosphere would be more authentic. But this is fine too. You can take a picture as if you were in Tokyo, but in reality you're in Pattaya. Why go anywhere where you can do it all in the shopping center of Pattaya? Now we are in a very typical Pattaya neighborhood, because in place of all this private area of small villas and narrow streets, there are these multi-story residential buildings that are so dear to every Russian. In these buildings they sell affordable housing, which visitors, including those from Russia, buy with great pleasure. Interestingly, as Pattaya and Thailand are in the same time zone as Siberia, there are many children from Siberia here, because it is comfortable. Nothing changes for them, it just got warmer. From the architectural point of view, as you can see, it looks a lot like what they build in Russia as well. Let's talk about pets. In Thailand, especially in Pattaya, pets are legal. You can even bring them from Russia, if they have chips, necessary vaccinations, and all documents. But it is a big problem to find a house where you can live with pets. There are very few houses in Pattaya. We can count them on the fingers of one hand, where it is allowed to live with pets. And you can only keep pets in your flat. You cannot walk with them in the yard, as it is common in Russia. If you have your favorite doggy, you must remember it if you want to move from Pattaya. Suddenly, I found a simply amazing place in Pattaya. Behind me is a Boeing 747. A huge aircraft, or jumbo jet as they call it. It's the world's first wide-body two-deck long-haul aircraft, which everybody knows. What a beauty, a beautiful plane that is here. And it's sad. Why is it sad? Because they usually erect a monument to them. They take care of them. But here it's really messy. There are these shanty towns here. There is a market around here. There are these washed out roads, and then there's this nice white plane. I don't understand which airline it belongs to. There's no livery left. A little history of this plane. It made its first flight in 1969. Before the A380 started to operate, these huge two-deckers, it was the largest aircraft in the world. Another interesting thing is that they are no longer produced. They no longer produce them. The last cargo aircraft was ordered and built in December 2022. And a few months ago, it was delivered to that contractor. And with that, the story of the Boeing 747 is over. It's really an incredible place. Before it gets dark, let's take a look. There's a market all around. What a mess. It makes you want to take pictures. People sell sausages under this beautiful plain. They fry the barbecue. As you can understand, in Pattaya's atmosphere of chaos and laziness, disorder and disorderliness have their advantages. For example, you can find a plane in a car park. In Thailand, you can enjoy not only spicy dishes, but also common European cuisine. The owner of the restaurant, Azur, moved to Thailand from Moscow, and before that she lived in Greece for a long time. But we have talked not only about the cuisine, but also about why many people like Pattaya so much. Pattaya's image needs changing for a long time. The reputation of Pattaya has been in need of change for a long time. But originally, I had the same opinion. When I came here, many things irritated me. But when I adapted and saw new places inaccessible for tourists, when you have a community around you, when you start to take care of business, it starts getting interesting. Also, you need to adapt to the climate, as Thailand has its climatic peculiarities. Well, what was your impression of Pattaya when you came here for the first time? Desmadre. It seemed to me that it was something, be honest, it was uncomfortable. It was hot. There were unusual smells. These were my first impressions. However, Thailand is developing rapidly. There are skyscrapers near the shanty towns. There's a good level of service, good restaurants, expensive shops. You can find here everything there is in today's Moscow. At least in Bangkok. Well, it won't be here in Pattaya, but you can find it in Bangkok. For some reason, many people, when telling about the peculiarities of Pattaya, attribute it all to the advantages of Bangkok. Although it is a 2-hour drive from here to Bangkok. That is the best case scenario, if there is no traffic. Yes, but we didn't choose Pattaya for nothing, because it's mainland, so we're more mobile. We can go to a cool beach if we want, or go shopping in Bangkok. I mean, if we want beauty, we go to see a ballet in Bangkok. I mean, if you live in Phuket, it's not so accessible because you have certain restrictions when it comes to getting around. This is due to it being on an island. For those who don't know, those who live in Pattaya hate those who live in Phuket. They have a fight. This is as many confuse these two places because it supposedly starts with the same letter, and then you don't understand Thai. At least as far as I know, this restaurant serves Russian cuisine. No, there's European cuisine here. Thai cuisine is also available. Although much less so. We pay special attention to Russian cuisine, as many people who live in the territory of this hotel, and in the nearby ones are Russian-speaking. Oh, and they come here for serniki blini, Russian pancakes, dumplings, borscht. Yes, we have pelmeni and borscht. Borscht is our chef's dish, as well as sernikis and blini. Who cooks all that stuff? We have a Russian chef. A Russian chef, right. Where is he from? He's from Irkutsk. But we found him here. What about the ingredients? We buy ingredients from verified suppliers, so the ingredients are of supreme quality. If it's beef, it'll be Australian. We don't use local beef at all. That's why it's mild and has a different taste. Same goes for lamb. It's Australian as well. If it's pork, it's Japanese. And the sour cream? The sour cream is produced by the Russians. So it's real sourced cream. What are the peculiarities of the restaurant business? Some inspections, sanitary standards. There are sanitary standards here, but how easy is it to open a restaurant here and run it? As for getting a license, it's not difficult. It is quite easy and inexpensive. Sanitary inspections don't bother us much. There are special issues regarding personal management. It is the main peculiar feature, I would say, characteristic of Thailand. That is, the staff has different mentality. What does it consist of? They have a different philosophy of life. Sabai sabai. They have a low resistance to stress, so you can't put any pressure on them. I mean, the punishment method doesn't work here, so we had to review our values and set the happiness of our employees, not in the first place, but in one equivalent to the happiness of the customers. Then everything started to fall into place. The hustle and bustle of the staff was reduced considerably because I see that they are generally satisfied. The chef of a Zua restaurant came to Pattaya 6 years ago from Irkutsk. I tasted his borscht and talked about the peculiarities of his work in Thailand. I am training the staff here. I can't go to the kitchen and cook there for hours. That is against the law. I am here observing and advising. So you're not a full-time chef, you're more like a manager? Well, according to the law, yes, I am more of a manager. What do you like here? I like the heat. I left Irkutsk, first of all, because it's cold there. How are the prices compared to Irkutsk? Is it more expensive or cheaper to live here? It's not much more expensive. How much money do you need to feel comfortable in Pattaya? Are you asking me? How much do I need? Around 100,000 baht. Does it take 100,000 baht to feel good? Do you feel good? Yes. Well, now we know how much you earn. Well, can I try borscht? Yes, please. Borscht is unique in that it contains the bone marrow. This is the way my grandmother made it. It's borscht. It's borscht. Yes, I can feel the fat in the bone marrow. The bone marrow contains fat. The borscht is delicious. What meat do you use? I use the special meat. Special meat? It is very tender and crumbly. You put it in and you wonder. Squeeze it with a fork. Wait, that's all I wanted to do. It's a brisket. Tell me, where are the best dumplings in Pattaya? The best dumplings in Pattaya? What a spicy question. The best dumplings in Pattaya are the homemade ones. That's it. That's a good way to avoid the question. But you have dumplings here too, don't you? Yes, we have dumplings and other Russian cuisine. We also position ourselves as a fusion of European and Asian cuisine. And it didn't end with just the borscht. I decided to also try the local barramundi fish and wine, cooked according to the Greek recipe. It is even richer than sea bass. Yes, it is a tasty fish. How much does the fish cost here? 690 baht. 690 baht. It tastes good. After barramundi, I tried the octopus, but it turned out that it wasn't Thai. It is a dish from my childhood, as I lived most of my life in Greece. When I traveled, I always looked for this dish on the menu of different restaurants, but unfortunately, I find it only in Greece. Octopus? Precisely this recipe of the octopus, roasted with pea puree. It is a mixture of the ingredients that I have never encountered before. It's a small Mediterranean octopus because there are some here, but they're huge. Then it tastes completely different.
Вот, и вкус их, соответственно, совершенно другой.
So you bring the octopus here from the Mediterranean? Yes, we do.
Верно.
Amazing. We have found an interesting moment that in the residential complex they use real boats as part of the swimming pool design.
Настоящие лодки. Вот так вот.
That's right. It's simply extraordinary. In Russia, children play in playgrounds with old abandoned cars, while in Thailand and Pattaya, children play with old motorboats.
Дети играют со старыми катерами.
Now, let's talk a little on the urban environment. Of course, Thailand is not about the urban environment. If you are used to slow walks and want to enjoy the cool, accessible urban environment like in Europe, you shouldn't go to Thailand. Because in Thailand, there are problems with it. There are no pavements here. The roads here are pretty bad, and the traffic is terrible. It's not a problem of Pattaya, it's a problem of the whole Thailand. I don't know. In Thailand, I haven't seen a single place in the city where you can just walk. We are now in the private sector. Here, there are private houses. From an architectural point of view, there is nothing interesting here. Nobody takes care of the architecture here. It's just a village in Pattaya. There are cars. It's quite dirty. There are wires, lampposts. There are no places where you want to take a picture, like in a Swiss village, of course. In the center of the city, you can find better places. There is a pier. In some places, there really are pavements. There are parks and gardens. But you have to keep in mind that this is not the urban environment you are used to. Here again, there will be huge problems with public transport, because the public transport here is pretty bad and it doesn't look safe at all. So you will have to move around in a personal car or in a taxi. The good thing is, taxis are quite cheap. There are several apps to book them, and a taxi ride costs very little, especially compared to Phuket. I am now at the Sanctuary of Truth. It is a very interesting attraction. It looks simply luxurious. It's a wooden shrine with lots of decorations. The decorations are very intricate, and the place is very photogenic. At first it looks like an old temple, richly decorated, but in reality, it is new. They started to build it in 1981, and the construction is still going on. It was the local businessman Lech Viryafen who started to build it. He died in 2000, but his work lives on. At the moment, there are apparently plans to finish the construction of this sanctuary by 2025. But from what is happening, I think they are going to slow it down. Because the works themselves are a form of tourist attraction. All visitors to this temple are given these helmets because the construction is going on. And people who come here pass through the workshops where they prepare the decorations for this temple by hand. There are people sitting and cutting interesting pieces right on the ground. If you think it's all made of plastic, it's not. It's made of wood. The locals say that while one part of the temple is being built, the other is being destroyed. So the work will go on forever. Maybe it's not bad. It turned out to be an interesting attraction. You can hear the sound of hammering everywhere. Like many tourist attractions, the Sanctuary of Truth has not only unique decorations, but also many legends. For example, in many guidebooks you can see the information that it was built according to ancient Thai technologies, without nails. Of course, it is a lie because you can see nails everywhere, and even each of the workers has a bucket with nails, with which they stick these decorations together. So don't believe the guides. All visitors should wear helmets. You don't want a board to fall on your head. But as is often the case, how tough the laws are is rewarded by how non-compulsory they are. So half the people are carrying the helmets in their hands. The shrine is amazing because every meter of it is adorned with carved wooden panels. And the decoration really is rich. If you look here, you can see how much attention they pay to them. The tourist elephants actually live in terrible conditions. But since it's all about making money for the tourists, nobody thinks much about what happens to them. Of course, nothing can be done about it, and the only thing that you can do to help the elephants is by not using these tourist services. So this is what the extraordinary attraction in Pattaya looks like, the Sanctuary of Truth under construction. I don't think that the people who come here for the truth and the current owners of this sanctuary do not see it as a holy place. Most probably it is a place to take money from the guests. Because in addition to the sanctuary, here you can ride elephants or horses, or visit a small zoo. You can eat in a cafe, order a fashion photo shoot, and indulge any whim you want to pay for. Obviously they charge for everything here. But as the sanctuary is very beautiful, as it has interesting history and lots of legends, as it is under a never-ending construction, which in itself looks like a local attraction, it's a place that one comes to take pictures, to look at how people work. The people work right in front of the tourists. They have workshops in the corridors, and inside, you see all the decorations based on religious and mythological stories from India, China, and Thailand, and Cambodia. There is something to see. That's why there are always a lot of tourists. Tours take place very often. There are tours in different languages. So if you want to hear the amazing legends of this sanctuary, check the schedule of tours in your preferred language. As we continue to discover Pattaya, to do well in life, the Thais have the ritual of burying misfortunes, also known as rebirth. With him, one can bury oneself the Renaissance. With it, one can bury oneself and be reborn, and in this way, the karma is annulled. By coming out of the coffin, one leaves all bad things behind. But you can do this ritual no more than 4 or 5 times in a lifetime. In other words, you won't be able to start all over again every year.
Nakmo tassa.
ภะคะวะโต
Paksawa o
อะระหะโต
Rahato
สัมมา
Sanma Kata
พุทธะพุทธ
Udbato
สวาหายะ
Sangwahaya.
อะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสส Vichang karana sampanno bhagavato loka
Give me that first. And now that. And now go over there. They put a pillow for me. Oh, right. Should I go there? Lie down with your eyes closed. Ah, so that's it? Wow. Good luck. Thank you. I buried all the bad things I had. I came out, and now I'm a new person. Now I have good luck. Another extraordinary attraction in Pattaya is an abandoned hotel. It is built in the Balinese style. In the middle of the jungle, there are several dozen villas richly decorated. The decorations are spectacular. There are statues, animals, there are columns, jams, carved ceilings. It's a fantastic place. But at some point, the hotel was abandoned, and now he lives a special life because it's not deserted. Although nobody takes care of the territory. But as I understand, there are people here. They seized and conquered these empty houses, and now they live and work here. For example, in this village lives an artist who draws some pictures, and the most interesting thing is that he doesn't notice anyone. In general, if you ran out of money in Pattaya, if you spend it all in the local clubs and restaurants, maybe you can come and live here for a while. Maybe no one will even kick you out of here. Let's go and see the abandoned hotel. What is interesting, if we look at the architecture, I really like Thai architecture because, obviously, it's all new. But Thais probably have the best new buildings out there. Because when in Russia or in Europe, they try to copy the old styles, some ethnic styles. It turns out to be a Disneyland. And when the Thais do it, it's cool. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Something fell out there. Maybe it's just how I feel. In the pond, everything is ruined. The little houses are falling down. There are statues everywhere. As in reference to Thai shrines, it's all richly decorated with sculptures. And all this, again, is surrounded by this fantastic vegetation, which looks magnificent. Here again, there is the sea. There's sea on one end, and there is the beach, a very long sandy beach. Just like in Rio de Janeiro, just like in Miami, but it's dirty. There are a lot of boats, ships. It stinks. It seems that something bad has been thrown into the sea. That's why it doesn't smell very good. There are some bottles, and as you can see, people don't swim in the sea. Now, it's not the best season, but even if it was, there would only be a few sunbeds here. but it makes no sense to go into this sea. Makes no sense. You have to rent a boat and go to the islands. By the way, they are very beautiful. Makes no sense. You have to rent a boat and go to the islands. There are tourist islands, but in about 40 minutes you can go to the Paradise Islands, as in the Maldives. There will be white sand, palm trees, and some people love that too. I almost forgot the biggest advantage of Pattaya is that it's close to Bangkok. Bangkok is an incredibly interesting city. It's the Thai capital, and obviously a big city with hotels, clubs, shops for all tastes, from the super luxurious to the very cheap ones. There is an airport there with direct flights wherever you want, whether New York or Moscow. It's a large and comfortable airport if you like to travel. It is comfortable to live here. You can get into a car or a bus, and in 1.5 to 2 hours you'll be in Bangkok. You can also buy a plane from Phuket, but it's not as comfortable, and there's not much choice as there is in Pattaya. Besides, Bangkok offers all kinds of leisure and entertainment. There are theaters, concerts, a huge number of restaurants. But to live in Bangkok, it's not very cool because it's a huge city with endless traffic jams, dust, and so on. So probably a format of living when you have a flat here with a view of the ocean and a possibility to go to the islands and swim in the sea or just travel for a couple of hours to end up in a city with all necessary services. As for the beaches, we will go to Koh Lan. It is the closest island to Pattaya. It is 4 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide. The island is a mountainous area covered with tropical forests, and at a height of 180 meters above sea level, there is a Buddhist temple. It is considered the highest point of the island. In addition, there are 2 small villages on this island where you could find hotels, restaurants for tourists, souvenir shops, so you can not only come here for a day to swim in the sea, but also come for a weekend and stay in a nice hotel, and enjoy the beaches, which are very much needed in Pattaya. Now we are going to look for a boat to go there, but there are frightening clouds on the horizon. I have a feeling that a trip to the beach will be a bit wet, but we shall see. I hope we get lucky with the weather. Let's go and look for the boat. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes, and you're on an island. The sea is clean and clear around it. There is blue sea and white sand, and supposedly you can enjoy a beach holiday. We came to see if you really can. Here, perhaps I must talk about my first impression. The first impression is that it could be better. The sea is good, the sea is clean, the water, the sand, everything is excellent, but everything else is like Adler again. There are weird and dirty sunbeds with discolored umbrellas. It's a real mess. It has no unique style, and obviously nobody takes care of anything here. There are endless kiosks with souvenirs. There are ads all around. I don't know, maybe people who come here from the cold Russian winter will enjoy it here and say, "Ilya, why are you complaining? Everything's great. I bought a mask, and here I bought some beer. Here there's a coconut. Here you can buy some shrimps, and it doesn't matter that everything's dirty, but it seems to me that it could be better. Maybe it's just not the right spot. We'll rent some motorbikes, and we'll go on a tour of this Paradise Island." A great example of how it all looks. Here's a man dressed in a rubbish bag. Well, look at this amazing thing. It has rained quite a bit, and it surprises me that for some reason they forgot to build the drainage here. The guys built a paradise beach with white sand. They put some sunbeds, umbrellas. Everyone has their own little business. Ferries come here. Dozens of organized groups of tourists come in them to see this paradise island. The only problem is that no one cares about the roads, nor the infrastructure or drainage. It's really funny how the guys look after their beach. Everyone goes out with sticks and hose, and they create a sandy hill so that the rainwater doesn't wash away the beach. But in the end, the whole road stinks. The water washes it all away. So it's all very strange. It would seem that if everybody is making money, why don't they just make a normal drainage system? Some micro drains, dig some ditches, make normal fortifications of the beach, but no. Let's move on, see what else is here, and go back to Pattaya. Because it's raining, another peculiar feature is that here there is a huge number of water bikes. There are jet skis, banana boats, snorkeling, so people come here on ferries and speedboats, and they entertain people with these jet skis. That is why it's so noisy here, as if you were on the main Moscow highway or on a huge ring road. These engines are running non-stop. Now it's raining and there aren't many people here, but trust me, when it's sunny, you won't be able to find a space to sit. You have to go to the most private and remote beaches. There are some like that here too. It's just that we've arrived in the most touristy one. Look at the traffic. The traffic is terrible. As if we were sitting in the middle of Moscow's busiest ring road. Again, they could have had all these scooters banned or made them electric. There are some e-scooters now. China uses them. They aren't so expensive. It would have been nicer then. Let's see how it is done boarding the boat. This is what the boat that comes in here looks like. Crowds of tourists get on all these boats. What a great trip to the island paradise. Well folks, it's time to draw the conclusions. This is my first time at Pattaya. I have never been here before, and as I already said, I have had a lot of contradictory information about this city. Mainly negative. When people hear Pattaya, they all go, "Oh no, what a nightmare. How do people live there?" Considering that, I have been to numerous resorts after spending some time in Pattaya. I can safely say that it is not what they called it. One has to feel it. Pattaya has its own atmosphere. I understand why people come here. Another thing is that maybe it doesn't interest me, or some of you, but it really has its advantages. And the main one is a great variety of different pleasures. It's not only about sexual pleasures, although we talk a lot about that. It's also about food, affordable and tasty food. And again, if we talk about other places, here it's 2 or 3 times cheaper than Phuket. Here there are a huge number of massage parlors, shops, services. Everything you want is always around you. If you need a boat, you take it and go to an island with beaches. Yes, of course there are disadvantages here, and the main ones are that Pattaya is noisy, busy, dusty, a little dirty. There is no sea. Well, there is sea, but you wouldn't swim in it. The water is turbid. To get to the place where you can swim, you'll need to spend half an hour and go by boat. People come here to have fun. There is a huge number of clubs, and again, it is cheaper here than in other places. People come here to make their mood better, because Pattaya breaks their mind with its energy. It transports them to another dimension. And they will not be thinking about their old little village or a busy city and their problems. because the atmosphere here is so strong that it will completely overshadow all the other problems you have had, if you have had them at all. In Pattaya, there are a huge number of foreigners from all over the world, not only Russians, although Pattaya is often called the most Russian city in Thailand. Apart from the Russians, there are many Chinese, many Indians. There are guys coming from Europe. They are indeed special people, but it should be noted that there are services especially for Russians. Russian shops, restaurants with Russian cuisine, and so on. But there are also services for everybody else. There are Chinese restaurants and infrastructure for the Chinese, and the same for Indians. That's why living here, you can immerse yourself in other cultures, meet people from all over the world, and find new connections or something. And of course, there is quite a good Russian community here. Maybe I was prejudiced when saying, "Who goes to Pattaya? They must be the worst perverts who come here to spend time with women, smoking pot." And we probably chose different paths. But in the days I was here, I found a huge number of very cool and nice guys doing business here. There are teachers, young families. People come here from Moscow, live here, rent flats. And it's a parallel reality, which has no contact whatsoever with the dirt and filth which you can find here. That's why in Pattaya, you will find whatever you need. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like this video. Write your comments below on what you think about Pattaya, whether you've been here before. We will meet again very soon in the new video. And to make sure you don't lose my channel, click subscribe. Also, don't forget to share this video on Reddit and send a link to your friends on WhatsApp. Goodbye all.